How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Talk Sports Show with Alec Pecano here on Friday, January 19th. Let's get started. Here are my college basketball upset picks tonight, and for you guys, I have 6 upset picks for college basketball tonight. The first one is Central Michigan +6, and with these upsets, what you got to watch for is before the game, the line's probably going to change. This is what it was, what the line was when I went to bed last night for these games tonight. But I've got Central Michigan +6 to upset Toledo. And now, this is a MAC conference game in basketball. I think Central Michigan can upset Toledo. They've already upset in South Florida earlier in the season, and I think they can pull off another upset here against Toledo. So I am taking Central Michigan +6 to upset Toledo. My second upset is Canisius +5.5 to upset Iona. Canisius University College has been playing really well over the last few weeks in basketball. I really like them to pull the upset here. And I would like to know down in the comments if you would like me to keep doing shorts, YouTube shorts, on if I get an upset pick right or if something big happens in the world of sports. Please let me know down in the comments down below. Back to the video. My third upset pick for college basketball tonight is UNLV +7 to upset Colorado State. Now, this game you're going to have to wait because it is, I believe, it is out on the West Coast, which means it's not going to start till later in the night. And just a heads up, yesterday we went 7-3 with the cover picks and the upsets for college basketball. Let's see if we can have a good day today. But back to you. I like how UNLV's been playing. They will be ranked soon in my rankings if they keep winning. My fourth upset pick is Georgetown, and this game starts at 6:30 tonight, so I most likely will be watching it. Georgetown +12.5 to upset Xavier. And here's the thing with this. This is a big point spread, but you saw what happens when a team has a big point spread. Example, FAU last night. They struggled big time against Wichita State and almost lost. Now, do I think Georgetown can pull the upset here? I see an avenue where Georgetown can pull the upset against Xavier. Does it happen? Maybe. Will it happen? Most likely not. My fifth upset tonight is Niagara +2.5 to upset Rider. Niagara is another team that has been playing extremely well in basketball this year. And it's an understatement to say that they won't continue this hot start to the season, because I think they can and will continue this hot start to the season. And my last upset pick is a game that I had circled because it's between two top 10 teams in my rankings. Number 7, Indiana. Number 6, Wisconsin. I've got number 7, Indiana, plus 11 to upset number 6, Wisconsin. This is in Wisconsin, and it's a 9. I believe the game starts at 9:30 tonight. Indiana looks really, really good. I think Indiana can upset Wisconsin. I don't care that this is plus 11 on the point spread right now. I'm hammering Indiana plus whatever the number is. I love this upset a lot. Now here's my 3 upsets for the NBA tonight. Because it's a lighter slate in the NBA. But again, these are the lines when I did it last night before I went to sleep. So anyway, my first upset is the Orlando Magic plus 5.5 to upset the Philadelphia 76ers. Now you may be saying, is Alec crazy? No, I'm not crazy. The Magic are actually good this year. And I think I picked them 2 or 3 times here. They haven't pulled the upset yet. Actually, yes, they did. I picked them against the Nuggets, and they beat Denver in Denver. So anything is possible. I think they can pull the upset against Philadelphia. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be wrong on this and look like a dummy. But at the same time, if I get it right, I'm going to look like a freaking genius. And I think the Magic can pull the upset. So I would take the Magic plus whatever the number ends up being for the upset. My second upset is the Atlanta Hawks plus 6.5 to upset the Miami Heat. Now, the Heat, this is a whole nother story. The Miami Heat they are good, but they've been dealing with injuries over the last few weeks. And I'm going to say they snuck out one against the Magic. I had the Magic upsetting them last week, and it didn't work. But that's not to say that it can't happen today. I think the Heat are definitely unupsettable. The Hawks surprised me. They barely beat Orlando the other night. They beat them because of DeJounte Murray hitting a game-winning shot. So I think Atlanta pulls the upset here, and I would take the Hawks plus whatever the number is. If it's 6.5, anything under 15.5 for NBA, under 15 points for the point spread, I would take the team that's the underdog plus that number. And my last upset for the NBA is the Phoenix Suns plus 2.5 to upset the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, the Pelicans have been playing really good lately. Zion seems to be somewhat healthy, but that's fingers crossed because we know Zion. Zion can't stay healthy for the entire season. He's always hurt, which means that there's a shot that Zion does play, but he doesn't play the entire game because he's hurt. So I am taking the Suns here plus the number to pull the upset. And now here's my way too early record predictions for college football. State, Rice, Hold up. Jackson State. State of Osaka. So, here's my way too early record prediction for Colorado State. And with this, you also get the schedule. So, let me pull up Colorado State's schedule. Colorado State. So, I have Colorado State winning 4 or 5 games this year. Now, let's go over their schedule. So, week 1, they play Texas on the road. I think that's a loss. So, they're 0-1. They come home, play Northern Colorado. That's a win. Then they play Colorado. I think they lose to Colorado. So, now they're 1-2. They beat UTEP, so they're 2-2. Lose to Air Force 2-3. Beat New Mexico 3-3. Lose to San Jose State 3-4. Beat Utah. Lose to Utah State 3-5. Beat Wyoming 4-5. Lose to Fresno State 4-6. Beat Nevada 5-6. And lose to Oregon State 5-7. So Colorado State's going to go 5-7 this year in football. And we gotta go to StreamYard. Here we go. Roll back. And then you go here. So, Rice, I have them winning 7 or 8 games this year. Let's look at their schedule. So, they play Sam Houston the first week of the season. I think that's a win. Then they play Texas Southern. That's a win. So, they're 2-0 going into the Houston game. I think they beat Houston to start the year 3-0. They play UConn. That should be a one. 4-0. Then they get in the AAC conference play. I think they lose to Army, so they're 4-1. They lose to Memphis 4-2. They beat Charlotte 5-2. Lose to Navy 5-3. Lose to South Florida 5-4. Beat UTSA 6-4. Beat Tulane 7-4. And lose to UAB 7-5. So Rice will go 7-5 in 2024 and make a bowl game. So now we got UAB right there. So UAB starts the season at home against Alabama State. I think they won that, so they're 1-0. They play Louisiana Monroe, who was one of the worst teams in college football last year. I think they beat them, so they're 2-0. Then they play at Arkansas. I don't know how good Arkansas is going to be this year. Right now, that's a win. Oh, by the way, I have UAB winning 6 or 7 games. So they start at 3-0. They beat UConn 4-0. Then they go into conference play. They play at Army. Lost 4-1. They beat Charlotte 5-1. Lose to Memphis 5-2. Beat Navy 6-2. Beat Rice 7-2. Lose to Tulane 7-4. Lose to Tulsa 7-5. and lose to USF 7-6. So UAB goes 7-6 in their second year in the American Athletic Conference. Jacksonville State, who we need to pull up. So here's Jacksonville State. Here's Jacksonville State's schedule, and I have them winning 8 or 9 games. So they start the year at home against Coastal Carolina. Well, Jacksonville State only has 3 games in there. I don't know how I'm going to do Jacksonville State's entire schedule because it's not out. So we're going to pivot. I have them starting 4-0. And let's see if I can find their entire 2024 schedule. I apologize for what I just had, and that's not it. We are having issues. I am looking for their football schedule, so give me a second. Let's see here. Can we get there? No. I should have looked at this before. Okay, so their schedule looks like. So we're gonna have to skip Jacksonville State because their full schedule's not out yet. Let's go to Ohio State now. I apologize. I did not look at Jacksonville State to see if their entire schedule was out. Forgive me. But here we go with Ohio State. I have them winning 11 to 12 games, and now let's preview their schedule. So week 1, they start at home against Akron, and this is a tradition. Every year, they play an Ohio school, and I think they beat Akron easily. So they're 1-0. Then they play Western Michigan. They're going to be 2-0 after that. Then they get their first bye week. Then they come out of their first bye week, and they play Marshall. That's a win, so they're 3-0. Then they play at Michigan State, I think that's another one. So they're 4-0. And they play at home against Iowa. That might be a tough game, but I think they end up winning that. So they're now 5-0. And then they go to Oregon, the number 3 team in the country right now. I think they lose to Oregon, beat Oregon. So they're 6-0. So they go into their bye week. They come out of the bye and play Nebraska at home. That's a win, so they are 7-0. Then they get to Penn State. At Penn State, this is where they might slip up. I think they lose to Penn State, so they're 7-1. Then they get back on the winning track. They beat Purdue to go to 8-1. Beat Northwestern to go to 9-1. Beat Indiana to go to 10-1. And then they play Michigan in the game. And I think they beat Michigan. So they're 11-1, with their only loss being to Penn State. And now the last team we are doing today is Boston College. Let me see. Okay, so we need to go here. We need to go to this. So Boston College, I have them winning 9 or 10 games this year. And let's start their schedule. So week 1, they play at Missouri. Now this is going to be a real tough. This is going to be a hard game for Boston College to open the season. At Missouri, I think they lose. So they're 0-1. They come home and play Michigan State. I think they win that. I think they beat Western Kentucky, so they're 2-1 going into conference play. Louisville is their first conference game, and I think they beat Louisville. Louisville, however you say it. So they're 3-1. Then they play North Carolina. I think they lose to North Carolina, so 3-2. They beat Pitt 4-2. Beat Syracuse 5-2. Lose to Florida State 5-3. Beat SMU 6-3. Beat Virginia 7-3. And beat Virginia Tech 8-1. We're going to redo that again. So they lose to Missouri. So that's 0-1. Beat Michigan State 1-1. Beat Western Kentucky 2-1. Beat Louisville 3-1. I don't know how good North Carolina is going to be, so that can be a win. So they're 4-1. They beat Pitt 5-1. Beat Syracuse 6-1. Lose to Florida State 6-2. Beat SMU at SMU 7-2. Beat Virginia on the road 8-2. And they beat Virginia Tech on the road 9-2. So Boston College next year will go 9, either 8-3 or 9-2, depending on the North Carolina game. I think that's the only game in conference that might give them issues. So who do I think the next head coach for the Tennessee Titans should be? And ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for being a not good host. I didn't look at Jacksonville State's schedule before the show. I should have, and I should have pivoted to a different team. When I do this next week, I will make sure I have the correct the teams I do. I will make sure that all of them have their entire schedule out for next year. But back to the segment we were currently on, and that is who I think the Titans' next head coach should be. Three candidates. Number 3, Ben Johnson. The Titans need an offensive-minded head coach that could help their quarterback, Will Levis, develop. And I think that Ben Johnson will be able to do that really good if you give him time. If you hire him, because the Titans are going to need to draft really well, and I think they can do that if they hire the right head coach. And number 2, Eric, and I'm going to keep saying, I think the Titans should give Eric Bieniemy an interview to be their next head coach, because look what he did with Sam Howell, who was not particularly good. He was average. That's why he was a late round draft pick. And look what Bieniemy did with him. I think he can do the same thing with Levis, who was a second round pick. And number 1, Jim Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh needs to interview for the job in Tennessee. I think he'd fit in beautifully in Tennessee. He is not, Michigan fans, don't get it twisted. He was really good as your head coach. He is not going, there's no way in heck he's going back to Michigan. He is going to be an NFL head coach. So the 3 candidates for the Titans head coaching job, in my opinion, should be Ben Johnson, Eric Bieniemy, Jim Harbaugh. And I gave you the explanation as to why those 3 should be the candidates. And the last segment I'm going to go over, as most of you know, I am the biggest Orlando Magic fan you will meet. And I'm going to tell you if they should make a big trade at the deadline. So here's my explanation on the Magic. Should they make a trade at the deadline? I don't want them to go out and trade for. I've heard they've been linked to Trae Young, Pascal Siakam. Well, Siakam's off the board, so he got traded to Indiana. But we've been linked to Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray. Who else? There's other guys we've been linked. The Magic have been linked to. I don't want us to go out and trade for a big name, because 1, that means we have to give up draft capital, and what if we fall off at the end of this year and end up outside the playoffs? Which I doubt we will, because we're actually good. But the outside chance, if it happens, that we fall out of the playoffs, we want to keep our first round pick this year. We have 2 firsts. We have 1 from us, I believe, ours, and then I think we have Chicago's. And Chicago has been awful. You are not trading Chicago's first round pick. I think all we need is depth for Magic. And 2, I don't want to trade anybody that's part of the young nucleus for the Magic. Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter, Anthony Black, Caleb Houston, who I dogged. If you go back and watch one of my old videos, I think I talked about why I was upset with Orlando for drafting Caleb Houston and Jet Howard when they came out of their draft, the year they both got drafted, I believe. I take back what I said about Caleb Houston. He has been really good this year, and he has been a key reason why the Magic have been able to stay at the top, near the top of the Eastern Conference. So 1, draft capital. The Magic have draft capital. I don't want them to trade that, because what if you taper off at the end of the season and end up losing a bunch of games? You could get a lottery pick and get one of the top guys like Alexander Sarr Dylan Harper, DJ Wagner. But we really don't need guards. So if you do trade that first round pick, I would trade it for an expiring contract because that would help you in the offseason if you want to try to land a big fish in free agency, which I don't know right now if anybody wants to come to Orlando because they see that Orlando is playing really well, but I don't know if they would want to come because of there's no state tax. So I would want, if I was a free agent, Florida is the first place I would want to come for professionally. And ladies and gentlemen, I offer memberships. And we will pull it up right now. I will show you how to get a membership. Just give me 30 seconds. Every time. Hold up. Okay. Now I can show y'all how you get a membership with the Talk Sports community. Screen share. So we are live right now. You see this little join button right here? You just click on that and it gives you this little white join button. You click on it and it gives you my membership levels and what the perks you get with it and everything. And then my merch store as well. Here's my merch store. This is all the merch I offer. Sweatshirts, t-shirts, pants, everything you like. Anything and everything. But, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for the Talk Sports Show today. I will see you again on Monday, most likely. But expect more YouTube shorts from me tonight. If we have any college basketball upsets happen, or if any of my NBA upsets happen. But if you've enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up and make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss any future uploads. But I will see you guys on Monday with the next video with the next episode of the Talk Sports Show. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.